So, for the second time at a Romford Film Festival, we have had Spoiling You. Um, let's do our little roll call as we normally do. Let's start with you, Megan.
Thank you so much for having Spoiling You again at the Romford Film Festival, because it also screened at the Horror Festival for its premiere, and just I'm really, really grateful for that, and we all are, and really appreciate it.
You speak up.
Okay, and secondly, I'm Megan Tremethick. I was the director, co-writer with Lawrie Brewster, co-editor with Lawrie Brewster, and I played Miss Mutter and the woman in white.
Excellent. On to you, sir.
Yes, I was basically a producer, and you mentioned co-writer, but I helped. I mean, like as a producer would. I mean, you wrote it. I was the guy, crying at night, spinning the empty chambers of a revolver, clutching a bottle of bourbon, trying to figure out how this film gets made.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Peter Mahoney. I play Detective Barrett, and as often happens in Lawrie and Megan's films, I die horribly at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So, while as a entourage, let's use that expression if I can, you guys make lots of different films, lots of different kinds of films, from sword and sandals through to, but this feels like a real change. This is like a real, because there's a lot of period stuff that you guys do, there's a lot of fantasy stuff that you guys do, and then all of a sudden we're bang up to date, we're using, or up to date ish, we're using modern technology ish. And it's just very, very dark. And what obviously is really amusing about it is that darkness comes from Megan. Talk to us about this idea, the inception, and what it was that floated your boat to go down this path.
Yeah, sure. So, I've watched ASMR videos for probably about 10 years now. The first ever ASMR video that I watched was by a creator called, and I actually remember it, called Veni Vidi Volpes. It was this woman, it was POV to the camera, and she was giving you a personal haircut while speaking, beautiful words to you to make you feel kind of relaxed, but also making you feel kind of connected to her in a very specific way that I kind of just never felt with an internet content creator before. And I kind of think I discovered that is in a way the parasocial relationship, perhaps, or maybe I'll infer. And I guess the parasocial relationship has fascinated me for a while now, because it's such a unique thing that we're experiencing in this day and age, much more than ever before. But also, I just personally really love ASMR, and I love horror, and I love J-horror, which this film is also very inspired by. This film is very inspired by Takashi Miike's Audition, and other J-horror films from the late 90s, early 2000s. And so I just wanted to kind of put them all together and kind of attempt to put my stamp on it, but again, you can never top those films.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because now you've mentioned audition. I get it. I really do get it. What for you? Obviously you've been travelling down this ASMR route for a little while. What does that do for you in terms of you were quite, when we spoke about, I said when you spoke to Peter about this before, you were quite knowledgeable of all these different people that do. What is it that's really kind of clicking in your brain, do you think, in terms of
Well, there is a technical term for it. It's called autonomous sensory meridian response. It's an actual tingling sensation that some people really do get. I do get it.
Yes.
Some people do, some people don't. But there is also, within that feeling, it feels relaxing, but it also can feel quite unsettling and strange, particularly if you've never felt it before. And so I always felt that ASMR for me was always on the cusp of feeling relaxing and kind of strangely intimate with a stranger, which is interesting, but also very unsettled at the same time. And there would sometimes be a little shiver that would go down my spine when I'd watch certain moments of even certain videos, but then I'd feel relaxed again. And it just inspired me, and I thought, well, I would like to make a horror feature film about that.
I just love the visuals, the bizarre set pieces, and, you know, and I love the fact that almost every set piece is slightly bigger than the last. So when you first have your meetings with your victim, it's all very, you know, you're in quite a confined space, and then before you know it, you're on like a stage, aren't you, with your Lawrence Harvey panda, you know, cat panda thing. How, you know, how is that putting all that stuff together, and how did you know, talk to us through your concepts in terms of the design, etc. Because, you know, as I say, each time you move on, you know, through almost the yellow brick road and all this other stuff, everything scales up. Even, you know, realistically, even to the car park at the end, it's all like an upscale. Talk to us about that journey.
Sure. Firstly, well, I have to also thank the team for their amazing work on those sets. Callum, Kaz, Paul is a fantastic art director. I would say, and set designer co-shared really with Cameron Cochrane.
Yes.
Cameron is confusing for me. But they were both phenomenal, and all the team, like Paul is not here, apologies.
He's drunk.
Yeah.
He's not drunk.
Like, the team really pulled together to make it happen. But in terms of when I was briefing them, I just really liked the concept of the artificiality of it all, because even when you go into Miss Mutter's kind of bedroom set, ASMR set at the beginning, I wanted a kind of artificiality but on top of decay, and that's why the set is basically a boiler room that she has kind of decked out with all this cute stuff. And so if you really look beneath the surface, you can kind of see all the horror underneath, but Drew, the protagonist, chooses not to look until it's too late. But no, absolutely hats off to the team. They did such a great job making it happen, and really great.
But the whole thing, you know, from the massage table, that kind of weird visual. I just remember looking at the pictures, the stills, before I watched the film, and thought, what on earth is that? What? I don't really understand what this image is here. Did the massage table actually come like that, or was this something that you liberated and adapted?
We adapted the massage table. Honestly, I was just sitting on the sofa one day, and then I thought, oh, I've kind of got a strange visual that's just come into my head. Like, a lot of the film is very inspired by specific J-horror films, moments of it, but that, honestly, I don't know where it came from. It just flew into my head, and then I drew it. There's actually a picture on my Patreon of the original image when I drew it, but luckily we were able to make it quite close to the drawing, so it's quite surreal seeing that in real life.
And what was it like to work with in costume, Lawrence? Because I generally think he's like the most menacing thing.
Yeah.
Imagine that coming towards you in some basement somewhere. I just thought, oh, my goodness, what is happening here? Yeah, I
mean, he's just so lovely in real life that it's okay. No, he was a real trooper, because that costume was not easy to wear. So obviously it's very hot. It's not convenient, but he was brilliant, and he was a trooper, and he's just fantastic to work with. Honestly, like, brought it every time, and we ran that scene many times. The first introduction of his character, because we want to have it in the bag 100%. I wanted as much coverage as I could, and every time he was phenomenal.
Yeah. The meow. Was that scripted or was that from him?
That was Laurie's input, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything that's excessively camp and outrageous.
Not all of it.
Not all of it. but none of it, when it pertains to men, that tends to be my kind of forte. Yeah.
Just an absolutely phenomenal performance from Lawrence, and I think when I think about his role and his entire body of work, I think next to Human Centipede 2, this is the one that's going to stick in my head. Because, just absolutely bonkers. What was your most exciting, like, in terms of the delivery, the actual visual? What was the most exciting part of the shoot for you? What was your that moment when you get to a point in a film and you think,
well,
I think we all have them, don't we?
Yeah, like, to be honest, there were lots of moments where I was really chuffed and grateful to everybody. One moment, it's a montage sequence with the woman in white character a bit later on in the film, an unsettling montage. I'll try and not give any spoilers, although I'm notoriously bad for giving spoilers. It talks about, in visual language, it talks about how she came to be, and she's actually maybe a more important character to the story than people might immediately think. It also has a bit of my own personal my own personal metaphor of how it feels to become a content creator online and how to feel sometimes consumed. Not always. I love what I do and I love the people that support, but there's always going to be that one or two people, and it's always something you grapple with yourself, and it's that transformation, and so it felt kind of personal to me, so it was very surreal and satisfying to see it happen.
And I think I'm not ruining anything, I don't think, when I say that this definitely isn't the end, is it?
No, you're not ruining anything, and no, it is not the end.
Can you tell us anything, any of you, about what's to come?
I don't want to spoil it.
On there.
It's a many-layered story. It's fair to say that, isn't it, Meg?
Yeah.
It's a very many-layered story.
You have actually shot some of it, haven't you?
Yes, we've actually we've shot a large amount of it, in fact, and eventually, we'll be doing a Kickstarter to just contribute final amounts. We tend to shoot most of our film before going to a Kickstarter, and we'll be doing the same with that, just so we know we've got most of it in place. I think the only thing I would do, I don't think it's too spoilery to say, is that if any of you guys are familiar with the film, it's maybe a little obscure, but see on Sono Film, Suicide Circle, or Suicide Club as it's sometimes known, then this new film takes, I'd say, for your own J-horror inspirations, a dash from that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it expands the story from just that little sneak peek you have with Pierre's character as well. That it's really interesting stuff that Meg's got going there. But yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about the character development. What do you think? Well, what is her backstory?
It's all in the film you just watched. It's all there.
Everything is there.
Yeah. At least how she came to be. It's all there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cryptic. Thanks for that. Do we have any questions from our audience?
I see a hand. 2 seconds.
Well, first of all, congratulations. I love it, every minute of it. The first thing was surprising, and for me that's good because I normally predict what happens in the movie, so I was just hooked until the end. We were talking in the previous movie that you're very young and you already have, you're a singer, you're a star, and now you're directing and scripting your own thing. Is that something that happened to you, this idea, a long time ago, or it's been something that you been among all this world kind of created recently?
Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. I've wanted to act from a really young age. I don't know, like 9. It kind of brought me out of my shell. I was full of anxiety, even more so as a kid, and didn't really have so many friends. But then I found the theatre club. Yeah. And so I thought you were going to make a joke.
No, not me.
No. And so it's kind of always been acting first, and in a way it still is, but I just feel very lucky that now I get to kind of be more involved behind the camera. And I had tried to direct and produce projects before I met the British Horror Studio, but it wasn't happening. People would bail on me, and it was a struggle, so it didn't really happen. So I feel incredibly lucky to meet this amazing team at the British Horror Studio, and we're able to collaborate together, and they follow through. They are the most hardworking team I've ever worked with and known, and honestly, it feels like nothing can stop them, so it's an honour to be a part of them.
Were you going to say something?
It's kind of funny because Megan is a bit like a kind of Scarlett O'Hara-esque figure, so I mean, you're pretty irrepressible when you're trying to pursue your own projects and things. You know, God forbid we didn't make them, we'd all be dead, Peter. Yeah. A very determined young woman, and immediately revealed the potential as a collaborator. You're like you're not just the Vivian Lee of indie horror, you're the Lenny Riefenstahl of indie horror. I'm only joking.
My observation from being on set, having done a number of indie productions where we've seen the best and the worst of humanity, was that I think what we got from Megan on set was clear vision and clear direction. And when you get those as an actor, it allows you to produce the character and deliver the character. And that's not always been the case in my experience of some of the other productions I've been involved with.
Any other questions?
No.
I hear one near the front there. Oh,
We've got
2. Well, it looks
This
like
guy's got the
one
best
in the
hat
side.
ever, by the way.
Wow, that's good.
Oh, thank you. How did it feel when you saw your drawing come to life? And is that something you do frequently, that you'll have an image of something and put it on paper and say, that's a thing I need to make real?
Yes, but that does not mean I'm a good artist. My drawings, as Lawrie can attest to, because I had a phenomenal cinematographer, Michael Brewster, who I collaborated with, but I was lucky enough to be able to do a fair part of the shot list myself, and he would amazingly take that on. And so all of my shot lists just looked kind of like childish anime drawings, to be honest, of what I wanted. And then he would take that and make it beautiful. So yeah, it's really surreal, but you need the team because I've only got the childish drawings.
I just want to add that they are not necessarily childish drawings, but they're very cute anime drawings. And so for Lawrence Harvey, or even me, but I've been in Megan's films or anyone else, we always have these twinkly-eyed, almost kitten-eyed versions of ourselves, even if we are just slightly misshapen, abhorrent middle-aged men. We see ourselves in cutified anime form in Megan's costume designs, which is quite adorable.
Yeah.
Hi. Firstly, I wanted to say that I really love the film, and there's a lot I relate to. And regarding the character arc, I had a hunch of who that woman was when I first saw her just in the background. Yeah. So I relate to even the topic of parasocial relationships, especially growing up in the age of social media. So it was a really interesting portrayal. And I guess my question is, so ASMR, you've been interested for the past 10 years. My question is, what about Japanese culture, manga, anime? How long did that interest go on for? Thank you.
Thank you so much also, by the way, and I'm really happy that it relates to you as well, because that makes me feel seen, so thank you. Yeah, I've always been a bit of a nerd, to be honest. I used to cosplay quite often and go to Comic-Cons and things, and it isn't woo, that was, it isn't essentially like a quintessential ASMR thing to cosplay, but I know that they do role plays frequently, not always, but they tend to, and they tend to wear wigs and beautiful fake nails and contact lenses, and I think my previous love of cosplay and anime and manga just kind of merged, and I wanted her to cosplay, and so that's kind of how that came about. And actually, it's funny because my mum came to see the first screening of this, and when she saw Miss Butter's studio bedroom kind of thing, she actually said it looked like my bedroom when I was young, and I was freaked out, like I didn't know what to make of that. So I think it just kind of bled into this film, to be honest, because it's part of me and it felt like it fitted. But yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? How was the shoot for the film in entirety, roughly?
I think you guys were going for a few weeks, really. There was the scene. One that took a bit of work was the Gilbert and Sullivan opera performance, which was remarkable because I don't know, for some reason we didn't know you were going to sing. You kept revealing these different talents that we didn't expect.
Thank you. I sang it live for a good few hours, so it was pretty scary because I'm not obviously a professional opera singer. I've done a little bit of musical theatre and that's it. So it's kind of terrifying and a big challenge. But I mean, Lawrence was also excellent munching John Ryan.
Yeah, he did that off screen often, and it was easy for him to do it in the film.
Don't know where to go from that.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, was the garage, the multi-story car park, was that intention or was it circumstance?
It was intentional. The car park itself was by circumstance because me and Michael Brewster were doing kind of proof of concept photography for the film, but I always knew I wanted it to be in a car park. It's just, I wanted a kind of urban legend Candyman-esque lore for Miss Mutter and her world, and so I wanted a little bit of liminal space, kind of horror mixed in, and when I saw that car park, it gave me a kind of tingle of a liminal space, and I was quite happy with its aesthetics as well, and I just fell in love with the car park.
And were there any complexities with shooting in the car park in terms of what the content was, or was it like a council-run car park, and did they have any issues with what you were doing? Did you steal the shot?
I cannot say whether or not we stole the shot, but I will say we were very lucky and had no issues.
Okay. Listen, lots of Italian filmmakers set their entire career on stealing shots. Nobody went after any of them. You're absolutely fine, don't worry.
What do you mean?
And we're just very lucky to have a labyrinth.
Yes.
And Lawrence is still down there.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, what we haven't discussed, and probably, and this is kind of for all of you really, and I've saved it for this interview, is beyond spoiling you 2 or whatever you're going to call it. What are we going to see coming down the pipeline next from the British Horror Studio? What do you think we're going to see here in Romford next?
Yes. Well, we are working on a number of projects. The studio is keeping very busy, and Megan Tremethick is the star of our studio, so we've been carefully looking at projects for her. And what we hope for is that the good folks at Romford might be able to enjoy, if we can just get it done in time. We've been working on a historical epic horror film. It would be in 2 halves, and you would want a good intermission because the film would be 4 hours long. This is the Gone with the Wind of horror films. An 18th century set Gothic folk horror based around a military expedition sent to uncover Sawney Bean, a mythic figure from Scottish folklore who's a cannibal. And Megan plays both a variety of roles. Yes, and within that. There is also, if any of you enjoyed The Slave and the Sorcerer, which screened, there will be a submission of The Slave and the Torturer, one of 3 proposed sequels to that first film, and that features Megan Tremethick back again as the man, the sorceress.
Don't forget our Lovecraftian.
Yeah, and there's also a portmanteau. I don't know if any of you remember For We Are Many, released by Hex Studios a while ago. But anyway, we have a Lovecraftian-inspired portmanteau. Meg directed 3 segments of that, and stars in 2 of them.
And in some slightly more historic filmmaking, you've had an interesting success recently with a film. I think we had it 2 years ago.
Is it
Queen Granara. So let the audience know what you guys just picked up for that.
Yes, this was it was a tremendous honour for our studio. Though I like to think of it as an honour for British independent filmmaking and horror. The Rondo Hatton Awards, they're basically the Oscars of horror, and we didn't expect this. This was a remarkable surprise, but 2.5-hour Lovecraftian medieval epic we had produced, which was screened at Romford Film Festival last year. The Reign of Queen Granara won a Rondo Award. Apparently, according to the committee, with a huge groundswell of support from the UK and the US. I mean, it is amazing. It's a testimony to the work that we're doing, and what we need to do is take those acknowledgements and that support and throw that energy into producing more films and creating more opportunities for other artists to participate and thrive in this ecosystem and community that we're trying to build. And we consider the Romford Horror Film Festival, the Lumiere and Romford Film Festival part of that, because your work is allowing our work to be screened, exhibited, championed, watched. I don't think these things would happen. There wouldn't be a Rondo without the support you gave us.
I think you'll be fine without us. Just for those who are interested in seeing your other works, how can they see Queen Granara?
Yes, well, we've just finished a new website, which was painfully coded and scrapped from scratch. That's why I've got a walking stick now and cocodamol for my arm. It's at www.britishhorrorstudio.com. And in fact, what you'll see on that website is more than just a shop, which there is. There is a very important mission statement that lets you understand the goals we have to make a positive impact on the cultural sphere for British horror and independent film, as well as profiles for our filmmakers, stars, and the films itself. We also have a Patreon, which is free to join, in which we post regularly about the behind the scenes, warts and all, in fact, so that folks can learn from our experiences with the filmmaking as well. So if you ever wanted to get an insight into the inner workings of a studio built on a 1930s, 40s model, you can. Again, it's called the British Horror Studio on Patreon.
Excellent. And if we don't have any more questions out there, let's give these lovely folks a big round of applause. And let's see what's next. Thank you very much.